See that Camaro? It's a 68 327 4-speed. It's in about 1 billion pieces. There's not even a quarter panel on the other side. But before the end of this video, I will drive it. Crap, I committed myself to it now. Amazon dude just leaving. Brought me a couple bags, brake parts. I'm gonna replace pretty much everything on the brake system. It's just gonna remain 4-wheel drum for now, but at least they'll work properly. I got the engine cranking and starting, but when it's in the start position, it keeps running. As soon as it goes to run, it shuts off. Probably a bad ignition switch. I have one on the way. It'll be here in a few hours. Something I have to address in the back. Somebody had the fuel tank disconnected. See the little rubber piece inside there? This one right here? Somebody had that disconnected from the tank, so I have to hook that up before I can put gas in it. I'll also be changing out the wheel cylinders on all 4 wheels. The brake pads, if they need to be replaced, they will be. Also, notice how that one rolls really well. Come over here to this one. This is a good reason to get hands-on. I just took the drum off and it looked like everything was kind of newer in there. I'm going to change the wheel cylinder anyway because I got one, but look at that. I'm not going to have that on the car. That's why it's good to go ahead and be a hands-on kind of person, get in there and see what's up. That's a lot of lock washers. Here's my before so I can see where the springs go and the various components. Now see, that does not look bad. The seals look all nice and everything, but if the story is to be believed, these had to be put in decades ago. They're too cheap to not change them out. Yeah, just when you think you're putting something kind of American-ish, if you squint a little bit, that bleeder is a freaking 8mm. Couldn't have just put a 5/16 or a 3/8. Got that wheel cylinder in, this wheel cylinder in, and I want to show you something at this natural braking point. You see these old tires and you think they're killer. They just have great tread on them and stuff. But let's see if we can get down in there. See that? See the crack? Believe it or not, this tire is totally smoked. You do not want to get on the interstate with that tire. Can you see how much that's been leaking? That's why this thing was all bound up. Now that it's free, everything feels good besides that. The shoes have a lot of life left to them, and I think I'm going to keep them, but I'm sure going to spray down the rest of this. I had to beat that drum off of the car. The driver's side front is done, which means I have one left in the back. The lazy man's way to bleed brakes. Just top off the master cylinder. Leave all your brand new bleeders on each wheel just a little loose. Come back in 3 days. I have a lot more stuff to do in the meantime, but we're just going to top this off and let nature do its thing. Also, if you're wondering why this cap looks a bit different from the normal cap you see on these, it's because this one was like $4 cheaper. Now it's like 20 bucks cheaper. But if it's cheaper, that works for me. Now watch closely, you'll see little bubbles. See that? I'm just barely hitting this pedal, and this is not going to bleed it entirely. This is just going to get a little fluid down in the various orifices. Says don't pump the pedal very hard. If you do that, you're just going to make it bubble out the top, spill over, get all over everything. Lots of bubbles, huh? A lot of air. You do want to check behind each wheel, on the inside of the wheel, right around that wheel cylinder. Make sure you're not making any puddles as you bleed everything. See? Nothing. I want you guys to see what I'm doing now. Slowly pushing the brake pedal down till it can't go anymore. Now letting off quickly. Now watch. See the whole series of bubbles? Do it again. Slowly pushing down. Let off quickly. See how much fluid has gone down in there and all the little bubbles? It's clearing its throat a bit. When my girlfriend is back, I'm going to get her to get in the car and pump the pedal and hold it, and I'll do each wheel by loosening up the bleeder valve on each one. But for right now, this is making progress. Okay, I use lots of tools to invade the orifices and inner areas of these two pipes right here, including the hose. It's all clean now. It was absolutely jam-packed shut. But let's get some gas going to it and see if it'll run on its own, because we don't want to use that stuff anymore. It's bad. Okay, make sure our key's forward. It is. I'm not going to use any of the instant start this time. I'm going to crank it See if we get some fuel up in the bowls first, make sure nothing's leaking. Should be getting some fuel up into those bowls any moment, it's like we said. Oh, I see a little fuel in the back. See that coming up there? Actually means that the float is sticking back there, so I'm going to go ahead and tap that. Has every right. This thing was probably sitting upside down in a barn for 30 years. A carburetor. Oh, looky there. I think we're about to start. Gonna go ahead and shut it down or let it die on its own. I've not adjusted the idle or anything yet. Well, it's also got huge vacuum leaks I don't have to worry about right now, but see if we got the huge one in the back. We do not. We do have this little critter right here. See if there's one up under the front. Well, that's a big old accelerator pump on there. Looks like we just have those ones on the side, so let's get on that. Hooked up the vacuum advance. I think it's time to go ahead and just start putting some body panels on it. A lot of this body panel stuff's pretty boring, so I'm just gonna shoot ahead to having all this on here. Every other Camaro I've ever had a cowl induction hood, but this one's kind of growing on me. Still have to get the grill, a new radiator support. You're thinking, why did you put it together already? Well, I need little things to keep me going, little bits of progress. And I'm getting a lot done. Looking a little more like a Camaro all the time. It has been a minute since I changed out one of these. It's not as easy as me just loosening this. See the little hole right there? You have to put a paper clip in there. The younger viewers will be going, what's a paper clip? Yes, I know there are two ways to do this. You can take out those gauges there and reach around into that hole, or you can take out this centerpiece. It was easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to take this out, pop the new one in, hook the new tumbler up in there, and see if that changes anything. Okay, I'm about out of light here, as you can see. But that centerpiece is back in there. I have to put the trim bezel back on, but the ignition switch and tumbler are in place, and we will check it first thing in the morning, which is right about now. Hooked up the battery, and I'm hitting this, and still nothing happening. There's no lights coming on the dash, which means something out under the hood is probably disconnected, and considering there's nothing connected out there, I'll have to just start hooking up stuff and find my way to the other side of it. Every time I come in here, gotta bust through those gears. Whew. I am so gonna love this. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put the trim piece back on and screw this back into place. Before I get on that though, I'm gonna see what's in that glove box. I don't have a key to get in there, but if I remember correctly, you undo the screws along the bottom of the door and you get right in there. I've already felt up under there. You can feel the cardboard box is still inside. So let's you and I discover what's in there. My memory was incorrect, so I kind of went about it a different way. What have we got here? 1989, see that on there? There's the type of oil filter. PF141. Kind of crappy to see this thing in this condition too. The original owner's manual. Not only did the little critters chomp, but they even pooped where they chomp. You're not supposed to crap where you eat, you little mouse. There's our new radiator support. Tell you what, man, the Chinese ones, they stamp these edges and they are razor sharp. They already got me. I did a couple other little vanity things today. Not a big deal. Put that lock in that door. And something I used to have on my old 68 back in the day was an SS cap. It's not an SS. Trunk lock has been installed. But I just kind of like the look of it. We're making progress. Bit by bit. Oh yeah, seats are in there. The carpet's been cleaned. It would seem we've reached the time when we need to figure out why this is not cranking from the dash. These are the two wires that go down to the starter, besides of course the big 12-volt lug off the battery. Yellow and purple, very typical. One of them goes to the run circuit, one of them goes to the start circuit. All we really have to do is follow those back over there and see if there's a break somewhere, or a fuse or something. Man, I just went out to get some car parts and saw that. Look at that sunset. By the way, helpful hint, if you just install a new trunk lock, make sure you don't put the box that has the keys in the trunk. Yeah, I know I have an open quarter, but I'm talking it was way over on the other side there. I got creative. Here's what I've done the last few minutes. I've changed out all the fuses, which changed nothing. I remember this being a headlight plug, and that's for like one of the marker lights, turn signals, voltage regulator, relay. But I'm going to do a little bit of searching online and get a really good idea what every wire does. This is for this headlight. That's for that marker light. And we got a hot there, and the ground going to everything. The ground goes all the way back over here and through every single thing. But I'm gonna have to do a little searching and figure out where everything goes, because I have to get power up to this area here. I also have to get it going to the proper lug on the distributor. I have it kind of bypassed now where it'll start, but it's not the way to do it. I think the yellow wire off of this is the one that goes to power up the ignition, which would be in the run position. Run and start. I'm going to go ahead and be honest. There's something about this car that has stalled my progress. And that is, I put a new ignition switch in it and it did not solve the problem. I have a little wire hooked up to the distributor over here that I can excite the ignition and make it start and run. But the key inside does not do anything. When I turn it to the run position, you'll hear the click from where I hooked up this wire, where it's energizing the ignition. However, I've got to make that down there not only turn on power to the solenoid and the ignition system, but I also have to hook up the start wire to make it so instead of me trying to push a button out here, instead of trying to use this thing, the ignition works the way it should. That's a huge part of what's keeping me from driving this, and it's two wires basically. So I got to figure that out now. My understanding is that off the ignition switch, these come down to the starter. These are actually connected to the starter. Well, the starter solenoid. The purple is the one that supplies the start position power when you're actually cranking. The yellow one goes down to the other lug, the one that's kind of on the outside of the solenoid, let's say. And that one gives power to the run position, and it should also power the distributor. The wild card we have here is that it's an AGI, which does not come on this car. I was thinking back, every time I had anything that I did to my Camaro in the past, it was all race stuff. It wasn't stock stuff. I had like MSD ignition and I had nitrous and stuff, and I was worried about how to rig up all that stuff instead of taking it back stock. This is kind of new territory. It sounds weird because I've had a few of them. Okay, got this back out of here. We're going to put the tumbler back in so we can rotate this without damaging. But there's the big purple one. And see in the middle, that little pink one right in the middle? The pink one should power up the ignition system, and the purple one should power up the solenoid so it actually cranks. So pink, ignition and power to everything, and purple basically firing up the, as evidenced by the thicker wire, it's got to power the starter itself. Got to see where we have the 12V and where we don't. Progress has been made. There's not power going to a single one of these wires. It should at least be on that one, on the red one, but there's nothing. I tried something a bit different. I remember this wire right here would go to the headlights, but then I thought, wait a minute, the headlight loom goes all the way under here and all the way to the firewall to the same spot. I've hooked this up to the big red wire. I'm gonna hop in the car and see what happens. See if we can hook this up now to the big lug and see if we get power. Ta-da! Let's hook up the switch and see if we can get it to do like lights on the dash and stuff. Let's look at our dash here. We should get a generator light there. Run. And the big one, we're going to the start circuit. Kind of hard to do it with one hand, but I'm going to do it anyway. The dragon has been slain. Why was that such a... I can't believe I couldn't remember that the one wire has to be connected. That turns on the entire ignition system. Give yourself a chance sometimes when you get confounded by stuff like this, because if you're like me, you have a few years on you, and you may have just forgotten how the thing works. So I'm going to go out there, disconnect the battery, and make that a proper terminal on the wire I just connected. When I started this the other day, the belt came flying off. It was just shredded. It looks like the pulleys are basically straight. I'm going to try this one on there, and if there's an issue, they're $9 a piece, so I'll be all right. Flash forward next morning, I had to walk away from the car because I got a little agitated. I decided I was going to put the radiator in. It's a brand new aluminum one, so I've been purposely trying to get all the other stuff done first. I don't want to mess up the fins, which I know I will. However, the thermostat housing was aiming straight forward. I needed one that went that way. I started to remove said thermostat housing. You son of a... There is nothing I hate more than extracting or removing by any means necessary a freaking broken bolt. There's nothing I hate more, but I may as well get on it. Okay, I have the center of it drilled out. Started with a small bit, went to a larger bit. As you can see, I have it swimming in a little lake of PB plaster. You and I are living this in real time, man. I tightened it down. It's making creaking noises. The next frame will either have this thing broken in half and me cussing like a sailor and deciding what I'm going to do next, or it'll be out of there, which I really don't think it's coming out of there. These just never work. See, it's already breaking the bolt apart. When you're doing the heat and lubrication method, you basically just do just like I said. Get it really, really hot, let it cool down, more lubrication. Get it hot again, more lubrication. Try to gently turn the bolt in the middle. Don't try to get all aggressive with it, because, man, we really don't want to break that off in there, because that would mean so much work that I'd rather not do. I am totally digging the C6 with the blacked out roof panel. So much that I'm going the wrong way. There's my truck. Ace Hardware had the kit for doing the Fixa thread, otherwise known as a Healy coil, for $65, and the guy felt so bad about it, he said, no. There was one right beside it that was the next size down for $17. So he said, $25, and I said, okay. So, at least that's on there. Well, here we are getting all intimate with the back of the Camaro. Got to replace that hose up there, brake hose. I figure it's probably just totally blocked up and swollen and all that. Everything else looks decent back here, except the fact that that's really, really wet right there. So the seal on the front of that. Looks like I'm going to have to get in front of the driver's side rear diff there. Unfortunately, sometimes you run across stuff you can't do. Tore up my rotator cuff last year and can't have both arms up over my head while trying to get that hose out. So once it is drivable, I still have front brakes, but I'll put it on the trailer, take it to my buddy, put it on the lift and get that part done. Put the radiator in. I'm going to use the foam that came in the container to kind of protect it till I put the hoses in place. Just use this to basically keep me from doing something stupid. Holy crap, don't look now. 1 seat in, 2 seats in, 4 bolts in each one. Kind of unusual for me. Back seat's totally in. Got a new windshield coming tomorrow. And finally, radiator in, both hoses hooked up. Gonna put some water in it next and fire it up, see if I can get it to idle right. I can't believe I'm saying it, but we're getting down to the wire. Quite literally. We're gonna check the output of the alternator, make sure it's working. Then we're going to fill the radiator and start the car, tweak the carburetor, take it off the jack stands after I put air in the tires. They're all old and lose air quickly, but a little windy out here today. Hope you guys can hear all this okay. Let's confirm that we have 12.5 here-ish. Yep, right there. It's a big lug on the alternator. Now when I start it, that should go higher. I'm gonna go ahead and fill the radiator before I fire this up. So typical for these thermostat housings to leak, and as you can see there, it's doing it. I have one of those kind of spacer type gaskets that instead of being just the O-ring, which this one is, it's kind of like a regular gasket, but it has a little of the RTV type stuff on each side of it. I might have to put that on there, but this is enough to at least fire it up and See if we got anything. We don't have to have this running very long. Let's see what happens. A little bit of gas. All right, let's now see if it's charging. It is not. So got to replace the alternator or check the wiring or something. It's sounding actually pretty good. Leaking some water, but you and I may be able to take this around the block. Okay, gonna try a little something back here. Make sure both the rear wheels are not in contact with anything. It's got exhaust on one side and a muffler on the other. So that's why it sounds really different on both sides. What do you say we push in the clutch and see if we get wheel movement? Okay. We're looking at the tire. The clutch works, and of course the generator light's on because we're not recharging it. Let's put some air in the tires, get it down off the jacks. This is a pretty good moment right here. Okay.
Take a few bolts off.
Yeah, cutting the exhaust off. I'll get it. Timing thing. You gotta push that right there. Just get me out of the car. Promise made, promise kept. Taking it to a little cruise in locally that's 2 days away, so I gotta put its new windshield in it, which arrives in about an hour. I have a back glass for it. I'm gonna tune in that carburetor and the timing because she started popping once she got warm, but whew, that was a great feeling. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. I'm gonna have a lot of information on this in the future and little projects. I'm going to try to put that quarter on myself, and I've never done it. Some of you are going to call me an idiot, and you're right, but I'm going to try it anyway. If I mess up, I'll just have a pro do it. Thanks for watching, guys.